Hey guys, this is Charles. I'm doing my Metrocon wrap-up video. It's a little late. I'm filming this on a Friday, and Metrocon ended on Sunday, of course. I drove back home on that Monday. So, this is a little later than I normally would do a video, but you got the time now, so let's do it. So I'm just going to go over what's in the video here. I'm going to cover what I got signed, what I bought in Metrocon, and a little bit of my experiences there, and tell you what I can tell you about what's coming up on the channel in terms of video footage. I suppose the first thing I should mention was, like I said, I left here with my roommate Wednesday morning before the convention, about 5 o'clock in the morning, which is a great time to be awake when you've had 3 hours sleep. And I drove it wasn't 3 hours sleep, it was probably more like 4, and made the 5.5 hour drive down to Tampa, which can be exciting. That lasts 50 miles or so. No, there's no excitement. I generally know what I'm doing. Getting out of Tampa, that was a different experience because we left around 7 o'clock or 7:30 or so after having breakfast, and we left right when the sun was at the same level as your average traffic light that hangs across the streets. So yeah, we couldn't really see the street. I couldn't see the street lights very well. That was exciting, and not in a good way. But we made it back here. Metrocon, besides all the obvious, was a lot of fun, as it is every year. This is my 3rd year being at the convention. So I don't have a whole lot of reference to go against prior years. I know a lot of people have made various points, some positive, some negative, about this year's convention experience, and I probably will do so as well as this video goes on. But overall, I enjoyed myself, and I'm looking forward to next year, and I'm looking forward to going to another convention, hopefully this year. So real quick to cover some of the changes this year. We had checkpoints this year, which set up a wonderful little debate on the Facebook group. Basically, they were just mandated by the convention center, not the convention staff, as a means of checking people, with the idea that people would show their badge when they got to a certain point, and everyone would know they're cool, as opposed to having security stationed around the various rooms. I guess the idea of a few big points versus a whole lot of little ones. And that's a valid, good idea. Part of this was also in conjunction with moving the Artist Alley, which is the crafting vendors, people who sell handcrafted stuff, into the dealer's room with the regular dealers. And I think that was a big change for a lot of people. I know that set off another host of discussions, that are some of which are still ongoing. Speaking personally, I think most of the checkpoints and the idea behind them were good, because I mean, after all, I like having less hassle showing my badge, going places, and I like the idea of putting all the valuable stuff in one area where it can be more effectively guarded or watch over in case a vendor has to leave their booth to go to the bathroom or something like that, which was an angle I admit I did not originally consider. Yeah, I think that was a good idea. I'm not really sure about some of the placement of the checkpoints on the first level of the convention, because from where I was, from my point of view, the ones on the second floor were set up in a way that you basically had to cross them in order to get to either the dealer room or to the main events, or to get to the 3rd floor. From the first floor convention, if you were coming in from one direction, or one or two directions, basically, you had to cross one of the 2 checkpoints to get to the video game room, which is all the way down the end of the hall, or the tabletop room, or the autograph room, which is on the other hallway, and even to the escalators that way. But if you're coming down from the other way, you didn't necessarily have checkpoints. You could just kind of walk up to them. That's not to say they're unguarded, because there was convention staff, there was convention center staff, there was Metrcon staff. You know, everything was well secure. I just think that the positioning of one or more of those checkpoints is a little odd. That's all. So that was the thing. Moving the artist alley was a thing, and I guess the other thing was there's a debate on panels, I guess, right now on the Facebook group, and it seems to the fact that a lot of people thought the Q&A panels were not good this year, or they wanted to limit them. I spoke about this on the Facebook group, and I'll repeat it here, that I think putting caps or limits on the Q&A panels is a bad idea, because I went to a lot of, I probably ended up at 18, almost 20 different panels at the convention. None of them were, only one of them was what I call professional panel, which is the voice actors panel, the last one I went to. And I didn't see bad panels as much as I saw panels that were not, they had not, the people that were running or organized them did not have a lot of experience. They did not prepare for themselves very well. And that's fine, because you're going to make mistakes at everything in life. The key is to not be destroyed by them, and to learn from them, recover from them, get stronger, triumph over your mistakes. And I think capping or doing anything more than offering some suggestions, having a rigid guideline structure for panels would be a mistake. Kira Chi Cosplay, who I've recorded a number of her panels over the past 2 years. She didn't do one this year. Offered up a very sound and good piece of advice for people who do panels, and that is to pretend that pretend they are the character, become like, you're in a play. I guess she said she got that advice in her theater school, which surprised me, because I didn't know you had theater school in high school, but I don't know. Thought she was in high school or anything, but you know me. But it's good advice. I know people that put on panels are sometimes nervous, or they're just, deer in the headlights look. Believe me, I would be in the same, if I was in your position, I would be doing the same thing. But, so don't be nervous, don't beat yourself up about having what's called a bad panel. When you have a panel where you learn things from, that's basically what it is. And yeah, sometimes they're not going to be great. They're not going to go according to plan, but sometimes that's good. I know a lot of, there's like a saying, that goes, bad decisions makes for great stories. And that's true. Now, that shouldn't be an excuse to go and tank something, but sometimes when you make an unexpected decision, you can lead to a lot better results. So, if you're one of the people who are concerned about having a bad panel, or having a panel where things you think when everything went wrong, don't beat yourself up about it. Lord knows, everyone's going to make mistakes. Okay? So speaking of making mistakes, like, me, I went down to Metrocon and I busted out this guy, the Complete Selection Deca Driver with cards. And very few people actually recognized it or knew what it was. I didn't really have a chance to show it off because, it was in and out recording. It did lead to me meeting TJ Omega for the first time during the convention. I had literally just walked in the door Thursday, and I ran into an Ankh cosplayer, a lady cosplaying as Ankh, and she was really happy, impressed and happy to see that. And So I talked with them for a little bit, and they left. And after about maybe like 10 minutes later, I ran into TJ. And then Danielle with him, and TJ's like, "What is that? Is that a complete selection Deca driver?" I'm like, yes, it is. I don't know if he ever watches these things, but DJ, the reason I wore this and I wore the Kabuto driver last year, and I'm going to wear something else next year, is, because of you. I think we should take these little items out and, excuse me, we should take our toys out of their plastic prisons and show them off. Anyways, so I was talking to Taylor and I said, oh yeah, by the way, there's an Ankh cosplayer here. The Ankh being from Kamen Rider O's, the red greed. And Danielle goes, what? I said, yeah, there's an Ankh cosplayer. And I pointed them in the direction of the main events area because that's where I had seen them going. And she's like, bye. And they left and went that way. And I'm like, okay. So about, I'd say, 20 or 30 minutes later, I ran into the Ankh cosplayer again, and she had run into Shades. The Shades. And I was like, did you guys run into TJ yet? No, we're looking for him now. So that was actually pretty funny. That she had run into Shades. Shades had obviously knew who she was cosplaying as. And they were trying to get TJ and Daniel over to see there so they could meet up. And TJ this year had the Ghost Driver on, so for those of you who are wondering. And that was actually pretty funny and good to see. He got her cosplay on his camera. The Ankh cosplayer actually is in, she is in Rhythm City Chronicles. She's one of the backup dancers that appears during one of the sets. You'll know her because she has kind of like an Ankh wig that's blonde. It's kind of styled like Ankh's hair. Just look for that. You'll be able to see her. She's also in the Masquerade Ball. I'm not going to say who she is, but she's there. But that was pretty funny, I thought. I did meet Kira Chi on the floor because she wasn't doing a panel, and I gave her some Sailor Moon books I had from Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon, and she was overjoyed about that. So that was nice. Going back to Rhythm City Chronicles, I actually watched that twice this year. I saw it the first time on, I believe, I want to say Friday, but it may have been Thursday. I think it was. Let me look, actually. I'll do a little handout here. Let's see, RCC. Nope, that was on Friday because that's the first time it can be shown. So, so I went and saw it Friday, and then I saw it again as the last thing I watched at the convention before it closed up. Bear in mind I have no musical talent whatsoever, and I have even less dancing talent. My musical talent extends to the fact that I can push play on some sort of device that plays music. That's about it. I do love music. I do like collecting. That's like the one thing I've been collecting from Kamen Rider consistently is the soundtracks because I like them. Hang on one second. Had to take a little drink of water. Tries your throat out talking a whole lot. So, I was just saying, yeah, I like music. I'm a big music person, despite my flaws and limitations. So RCC to me is always like a great blend of good music and even better dancing. It's like one of the reasons I stop and recorded some videos from the Hype Cam videos or the Hype Train videos. It's because I like seeing people just spontaneously break out like that. That's funny. And it's not funny, it's kind of like, it shows you the real spirit of people. Getting out and just letting loose. Where am I going with that? I don't know. Anyways, I saw RCC twice, and both shows were great, as always. Ankh is great in them. I think, given the choice, I might actually prefer to watch RCC more than I would prefer to watch anything, including the human chess match this year. There was a Borderlands themed event, a stunt show at the event, at the convention, but I just couldn't find the time to watch it, sadly. I also couldn't find really time to go to any of the voice actor panels. The only one I actually went to was the very last one, which was Voice Actors Farewell. And you had Kirby Moreau, Richard Ian Cox, and Laura Post, who were the only 3 actors who were left for that. And that was a lot of fun because you got to see, you know, those kind of panels where, you know, it's the last panel of the convention, and pretty much every question that's worth asking has been asked. So now it's just ridiculous time. It's time for the ridiculous questions. It's time for Richard to tell a really unfortunate story about bananas. And I'm not going to say any more because that would spoil it in case somebody actually recorded, and I think someone did. But if you get a chance to watch that panel when it goes up, please do, because it's funny. I did see the voice actors at their autographs. I didn't record any of the autograph signing because that stuff's all personal. Now, the fun fact here is I think TJ Omega's already done his recap video, and he explained how the stuff he got signed. When it came to Richard Ian Cox, and he was trying to get the Black Stallion DVD signed, true story was, I was actually right behind him when that happened. I was the second person in line behind him and Danielle. And Richard seemed kind of like he's like, okay. He's like, he didn't expect that, but he wasn't overly surprised by it. That was like my takeaway from that. So it's like I was talking to him after. It's like, yeah, there you go. It was an odd moment. I'm getting a little tired, so let me continue and wrap this as best I can. So like I said, I went to get stuff signed this year, and my number one person I want to get signed was Robbie Draymond. But before I dig out the autograph stuff, let me go through the swag here. We got our badges, because we need stinking badges this year because of checkpoints. Not that they were bad anyways, but hey. And I got a new lanyard because I couldn't find mine. It was worth it. We got the book that your life at a convention will revolve around until you realize that stuff's going to get changed because of real life issues. So that was good. And we also got this. The Super Great Protection Cloak of Mostly Dry, which is perfect for Fire-type Pokemon, Ranma characters, Miyazaki Fish Girls, cosplayers of Sweet Hair, Wicked Witches, and Ballerina Duck Princess. And yes, you can see it has all of those on it. This was funny. And this was also needed because I think it rained really heavily like on Friday night. I think it even... Was it Friday night? That it, like, delayed the fire show, and that kind of sucked. But things I got signed. Robbie Draymond was my number one target this year because last year, you remember? I had this, and I got Stephanie to sign it, and I got Robbie to sign the other side because I didn't have his. Well, this year, yep, I had his. Actually, this came in the mail and came on the Friday I was down at Metrcon. That's when it showed up. Figures. You see, he signed the bubble there. Now, what was cool about this was that when I brought this out, Robbie recognized me, and he saw this, and there is a Metrocon staffer that's basically assigned to be of every VA or guest, and the guy who was with Robbie, he thought that was really cool. He's like, yeah, and Robbie was like, yeah, but they're not cheap. When I got mine, they cost me like $40 or something like dollars. I'm like, when you got yours? I know it's tradition for voice actors, especially male voice actors, they start collecting action figures of themselves. You know, I'm sure Scott's got like a whole wall of himself somewhere in his house. Robbie just got into the business, and for him to like, number one, get the role of Tuxedo Mask, but two, also get such a high quality figure, like a figure art of himself, that was really cool. Not just at a personal level, but like as a toy collector, I was like, all right, that's really cool to see. And I hope he keeps doing that. Robbie wasn't the only Sailor Moon actor or actress we had. We also had Christina V, who plays Sailor Mars, who I got to autograph right here. A couple little stories about this. One, when I was actually getting her interviewing, when I was not getting her signature on this, I asked her if she was going to sing, and she said yes, she's going to perform as Ray in Sailor Moon R. And I thought that was really cool, because I wasn't sure. I had asked Stephanie last year if she was going to be singing as Usagi, and she said no, not yet. She didn't know. I think she might this year. I don't know that for sure, but I hope so, because that would be cool. The other thing about this that was also kind of cool was I had two things for Christina V to sign, and I had one gift to give her. And the gift I gave her, which came about because I was looking at her bio and everything when she was first announced as a guest, and I found out she had an appreciation, an admiration for the Ladybug design. And I'm a Kamen Rider fan. And some of you know where this is going. So I went on eBay, because that's where you find everything, and I looked up a little figurine, not quite a Gashapon, but something close, of Tackle, who from Kamen Rider Stronger, the original Tackle, not the newer version from the Decade movie. And after verifying that this guy was legit, I bought it, and when it arrived, I looked at it, bought it several months ago, way before the convention, and found out, yeah, he had just opened up the box to make sure to see which figurine was in it. So I brought that with me, and I gave that to her. I said, here, you should have, this is a gift. And she's like, really? I'm like, yeah. And she opened it up, and she saw a Tackle, the distinctive Ladybug design. And she was really impressed. And I said at that point, I think I asked her if she had been talked to TJ Omega yet, Tyler. And said, no, not yet. And I'm like, okay, well, if you get a chance, ask him about, show him that or ask him about Tackle, and he'll be able to fill you in more than what I know. So that was really nice. The other thing I got Christina V to sign, because Laura Post was also there, was Neptunia. And you can't, well, you might be able to tell. The front of this thing is actually filling up with quite a few signatures. There's Laura's signature right there, I believe, right where my finger is. I believe that's hers. But there's like Christina, I believe, down here. I think that's Christina. But you also have Carrie Kieran, I think is her name, from last year. And more recently, I also had Xanther Hewen and Kira Buckland were also able to sign this for me. So one of my ongoing side projects is going to try and see if I can get the entire Neptunia cast to sign this game, because we all have to have goals. Now for the final trio. Eric Stewart, who was the first James and Brock from Pokemon. And I'm going to take a drink of something real quick. Thank you. Was also at the convention, and Eric had a little thing where he had a little booth in the dealer's room where you would go up and buy a postcard of his postcards for $10, and he would autograph that, and he would autograph any other item you provided for him. So I was looking around at his thing, and I got a gallery postcard of him signed, and I got my Slayer's Try box set signed. Box set signed, not signed. As you can see, he signed right down here on the blade. I think we were discussing, like, where would gallery sign? He's like, well, I could sign my hair. I could sign Zel'Gaz, but I don't think that would go well. I'm like, yeah, sign the sword. So that was actually pretty funny, because he told me that this was the only role where he basically had to make a lot of eating sounds for the show. And I thought that was pretty funny. So, for him to just come out and say that. That left me with Kirby and Richard. So, Kirby, I went back to an older story he had already told about being at a party, because that's Kirby's natural habitat, is being at a party, and walking into a room where someone was watching The Vision of Escaflowne, which is an anime series. He played the lead male Van Faneo. I think I say that name. And then he like recited a line that his character says on screen, and nobody ever believed him at first. So it's like, you know what? That's just too funny to, not reference again. So, Escaflowne Ultimate Edition, the movie. There it is. It's like, did they ever believe you? Like, yeah, they finally did. I had to show. So that was pretty funny. Kirby's kind of a weird, funny guy. I gather from the conventions. He sounds like a guy who does not resemble the characters he ends up playing, but except for maybe Moroku. But I'm actually kind of curious to see how that interview with TG Omega went. For Richard, because he was... a lot of people know Richard from Inuyasha, and you should, because that was his first, where he's like, from the start, he's the big... from the start, he's the first big star on the show, voice acting wise. However, that's not where I first heard him. I heard him on this, on one half. This is Out of Control, season 4 of the TV series, and you can see there's a signature right there. This is when he took over from Sarah Strange, who left. And I like Sarah. There's a couple of performances of not just like Sarah in the 2 movies and the OVAs, Ranma and Juliet, against the ice skaters. I forgot what their name, their pair. I forgot what their name is. Azuna and Shinosuke. Not Shinosuke. I forgot what the guy's name is. And I never knew Ranma boy type was played by a woman until I would look at the credits, and it shocked me. Richard came along after that, and Richard made the character different, but he's definitely made him Ranma, because his voice for the character is a little bit more, I won't say smug, but it's a little more of I guess you'd say brash, I think. A lot more like, kind of like his Inuyasha voice, but it's more like his Inuyasha voice is a continuation of the Ranma voice, if that makes any sense. Anyways, that was where I got Richard signed. Had Scott somehow managed to make it down to the convention, I would have asked him to sign that as well, because he played Principal Kuno, as he shamefully reminded me. And my PC is doing its thing, because I have to log on now. So, before I log on, I want to finish up here. That was the autographs. The things I bought came from Artist Alley this year, because that's where I buy things. And the first things I bought were strictly an impulse buy. And let's see if I can get these if I can get them to get down here without dropping all of them. And that's where, you can't really tell, buttons, but not just any buttons. That's right, that is a Tyrannosaurus. That is a pterodactyl. That is the Triceratops. Some of you may have figured out where this is going. That one. Saber-toothed tiger. Mastodon. Yep. It is the pins of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 1 and 2. And right here you have the final 2. White Tiger Zord, Green Dragon Zord. I bought these because they're like $1 a piece. Impulse buy purely. They look, and they're not masterpiece quality, but they are pretty high quality for, for what they are. If I ever actually manage to get around to putting something resembling a professional backdrop, these guys will almost certainly be on it because they're just too cool not to. Let's see. And really, that was the kind of the small purchase. Now, last year, and one of the reasons I bought them was because they were right next to the booth where I got this, which I got last year. However, those of you with good memories will remember that I had my eye on something else last year. This year, I actually got it, and I'm just going to lean over here and get him because he's kind of big. Ladies and gentlemen, Link. As you can see, Link's, well, he's pretty big. I think he's, I've got him sitting on my knee right now. You can see he's, I mean, we can compare him with Samus, So, true story is, I went by the booth because I had to find the person who was selling him. I went and found her. And if I remember, I will put her link to her store and such down in the video description. And I asked how much. Well, I didn't ask how much. I asked where is he. She said he wasn't done yet and she would be working on him. So I think that was Thursday. So sometime around Friday, I went back by the booth and he was up and he was done. And I walked away for a little bit because I was checking some other stuff out. My friend was buying art prints. One of Handsome Jack, one of the Majora's Mask, and I just said, you know what, I had to come back and get this. And I asked how much, and it was $130. I said, cool, I'll buy it. So, yeah, for $130, you can have this. Now, I'm not going to... I am kind of afraid of breaking him, because it's just the nature. I mean, you can literally see he's very, very thin. But that's just the nature of the construction here. And he is kind of bendy. He's kind of bent, rather. I don't regret buying him because he's still cool, and because this is something I did not really see anywhere else on the Artist Alley booth or convention floor anywhere. And that was kind of the reason I sought out and bought the things I bought, because I want something unique, a good memory to go with the convention. So that was my convention swag. And I don't regret buying it, because he may break at some point, and I feel like he probably will, but I will still have a great memory of him, of having it, of buying it, and of having that near Metrocon. So, as I try and find a spot to put him, because he is rather unwieldy at present, I think we'll just put him across a box top for right now. Hope he doesn't shatter into pieces. So let's talk about what's coming up on the channel in terms of panel videos. Probably the most important thing is I spent a lot of time at a lot of different panels. Not just Q&A panels, but different kinds of panels, including an avatar training panel and a dance video, or a couple dance panels. Yeah, they're real. I'm sad to say that, like I said, there was no Kira cosplay panel this year. So for the people who are looking for that, no. There are Sailor Moon panels, 2 of them. There is also a pretty hilarious Borderlands panel. The Metrocon mascots have had a pajama party. I was there. And let's see, we had a Naruto panel that derailed about halfway through it and was glorious to watch. And making their return are the Vocaloid game show panel, which got renamed because the previous title was a tad, could be interpreted slightly racy. And there's a bunch of other stuff too, but those are the highlights. As for when I will be getting any of that out, I am going to be a little more deliberate this year, not run everything out. I'm also going to be filming other stuff to go along with that. Like, I have an actual action figure review I want to do at some point here to put on the channel, and more experimental stuff. I will get and try to give everything up Metrocon related by the end of the year. I know that's a long time away from now, but trust me, that's the kind of goal I'm looking for right now. And I also figure by doing these other projects in the meantime, I can experiment with my editing software to get a little better with it. And if I screw something up, then well, I've screwed something up for myself and not for anyone whose footage I may have screwed up. So, anyways, it is getting on here, and I need to do some other things today before I go to sleep. I hope everyone who watched this finds it informative and reassuring or happy, or at least, interesting. And I will talk with all of you at some point in the future. My name is Charles, and I'll see you there. Bye.